Infrared is the first stage, so we can think of this as the dawn of history, as the start of life for a human individual. Kind of the most basic form of functioning that we're capable of, where we won't die. Infrared is the end of what genetics does for us. We haven't really significantly changed genetically since infrared. The change is memetic in nature. It's to do with how our culture teaches us things. Your behavior is impulsive. You are in the present moment, responding to what's happening. We can imagine long periods of just paying attention, and then a lot of very active moments, very active interactions, active engagement with the environment, very experimental relationship with the world. You have basically no technology, primitive tools, primitive artifacts, things that your family and your tribe know about. It's all very localized. Even your language is going to be some really small vocabulary referring to things that are around you that apply to your small family tribe, which might be literally just, it might literally just be you.
Family.
And it may be your extended family kind of living together in an area and reconvening. It could also be a rather large group, maybe hundreds, who have assembled together in a general area and kind of spread out over it to take advantage of those numbers. This is something you would see towards the end of that, and it would sort of resemble what we see in some of our most simple human societies today. When groups start to do that in today's world, they're going to spread ideas, and it's not going to stay infrared for very long. So something like that is something we can only kind of find in the fossil record and doesn't entirely exist today. Homo sapiens spent nearly all of its time in infrared, and so all of history is actually a kind of small slice compared to the amount of time where we were not doing that, where we were not creating language and culture and writing and all that. So infrared is sort of pre-cultural, pre-verbal, for the most part, some sort of communication happening. I don't want to get too deep into anthropology here or archaeology, because these are rapidly changing right now. It would seem there's a lot of new hominids coming out. So we don't want to make too many claims, but just to understand what it was, what that center of gravity looks like and how it groups together is kind of all you really need. So we are caring for those who will help us to survive, which is our immediate family and ancestors, and that's what we value. The idea of social groups doesn't really exist yet, or if it's out there somewhere, it's something to be feared most likely. Or you know, if you don't fear it and you come to cooperate with it, you will then be sucked into that altitude and will no longer be infrared. And that's kind of what will happen to you today if you're infrared. The only reason you can stay at infrared today is if you have some incapacity, which would be either trauma or health issues, senility, Alzheimer's. You could also be a baby who hasn't learned anything yet. It is worthy of note if you want to see
raw infrared in a human being.
People always are like, are you serious? Is this real? Yeah, it's totally real. There's a young girl in Russia who was actually raised by dogs because her family basically abandoned and neglected her, and she needed to depend on the dogs for survival. She is a dog. In her own mind, she's a dog. She was a member of the pack for her childhood, and she was, you see the way she behaves, she looks like she's doing stuff that a human would have to train for, you know, that we couldn't do, the way she crawls around, the way she makes barking sounds. But that's all just because she believes herself to be a dog. And so, of course she can do that. So she would be an interesting case study, and someone who in today's world was capable of sort of being an infrared creature of some sort, and then subsequently discovering this entire society that we have and being reintroduced at an extremely late age to development. She actually came out pretty all right. She had obviously issues, but is a healthy, mature person for the most part. having recovered and recuperated from that.